Kieran Gillen and Asad Ribic begin the road to Judgment Day as the Eternals infiltrate the Avengers Mountain to unlock the secrets of the long-dead Celestials and discover a way to finally kill Thanos for good. Kieran Gillen takes a huge leap forward in the upcoming Judgment Day event as the Eternals finally get around to dealing with the Avengers living in the body of their long-dead god. While we got a big chunk of that story developing, most of the issue was actually dedicated to Thanos exacting revenge on his parents, killing them over and over in a bid to try and quench his rage within him. There was a really fun parallel with Thanos dealing with his own creators and trying to determine what they were doing with him while the Eternals were dealing with theirs, both trying to find out pretty much the same answers and going about it in drastically different ways. It's been so good to have a more complex Thanos running around, and one who isn't constantly obsessed with the Infinity Stones, the Infinity Gauntlet, or death. Instead, here Gillen explores the being's familial relationships with his family, who even in the face of deaths of thousands that they could easily prevent, still find that their hate for the villain outweigh it all. It's a thoroughly interesting look at the character and his family, and he hasn't been this interesting since Donny Cates' miniseries from a few years ago. Asad Ribic's light and dreamlike artwork continues to give the book a really fantastic and unique look. I love the contrast between the colourful and light art and the violent and angry Thanos killing his parents over and over again, and it adds an extra layer of terrifying to it all. Eternals issue 10 continued Gillen and Ribic's build to the Judgment Day, diving really well into the parallels of the Eternals seeking out their creators while Thanos does the same, but in a much more violent, rage-filled and complex and interesting way. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10. Eternals issue 10 finds Icarus and Athena surveying Avengers Mountain as Machine wonders how the Eternals could infiltrate the mountain, knowing as friends of the Avengers they could just ask, but the Eternals don't trust Earth's mightiest heroes, as Iron Man voices his concerns about the Eternals being there. Namor thought they agreed on the fundamentals, and that there are those who say no to a date with a beautiful woman out of fear, but he won't be doing that today. Tony tells him to dial it back and listen, because ever since the Eternals came back they have been off, and the recent climate malfunction they helped with didn't actually solve the problem, and the explanation the Eternals gave them about the problem was rather lacking, equating it to turning a computer on and off again. Namor tells him not to worry since he hopes that they will reveal many things to one another today. Tony wonders why they asked for dinner with Namor and not him, making Namor realize that Tony is just jealous. The mutant takes his leave as Tony tells Carol that he thinks Namor exists to make him know how other men feel about him. Namor goes to see Cersei, who thanks to Namor's half-naked visage thinks that she is overdressed. Namor thinks that can be rectified, wondering if maybe she wants to go for a night swim in his private pool. Cersei is reminded of her time in ancient Rome and the bathhouses, agreeing to go, taking off her earring and leaving it on the bed, where it's revealed to be a spy device which the other Eternals watch the scene play out through. Sprite knows the more Cersei and Namor stay in the same room together, the more likely they're going to see some content that is way above her age range. Machine knows that the earring was made long ago for Cersei for missions such as this, as Kingo knows that Sprite has snuck into her fair share of inappropriate movies, reminding her how he got her into one of his own films. Sprite doesn't remember that at all thanks to her missing memories, but Kingo knows that's good since the movie wasn't good, and the director's cut is even worse since it's just filled with slow-mo that turns a 2-hour movie into a 4-hour movie. Makari tells them to spare her the banter since Phastos is busy buying them every second they have. Ajak knows they must hurry and find the secret of the deviants within the mountain and use it to kill Thanos. Makari reminds her that they have to be practical about this, and Icarus and Athena can be the cavalry for them, but hopefully they won't need them. Thanos meanwhile tortures Phastos, but the Eternal refuses to talk. Thanos, however, just wishes to hurt the being, knowing from his perspective, his plan is actually working perfectly. Thanos finds Droog, telling him that Phastos still refuses to talk despite the torture, wondering if he can make him somehow. Droog knows that given long enough, anything can be made to move, thinking that while Thor's hammer is seemingly unmovable, he bets with enough sufficient leverage, he could move it. He implores Thanos to use some emotional leverage on Phastos, something like threatening the humans. Thanos doesn't want the Avengers to know of his presence just yet, but Droog knows that there are some ways they can do this without revealing him, telling him of the secret deniable weapons at his disposal. Droog tells him what to do, so Thanos shows Phastos the town of Little Hollow, knowing with the press of a button on his trigger, he can create a plasma vent under the town. He demands Phastos give him what he needs, otherwise 10,000 souls will be turned to charcoal. Phastos does the math in his head, weighing the needs of the many against the needs of the few, telling Thanos that he reanimated him and he made him part of the machine in a few ways, but he never discovered how to fully integrate him, since those details belong with Thanos' long dead parents. Deciding this has been for nothing, Thanos kills Phastos, knowing that his change died along with his parents. Droog though says that he could just ask his parents, revealing that they are actually in the nearby cells. Machine can tell despite Thanos being a genius, he is genuinely shocked his parents resurrected there on Earth. He goes to see his mother as the Eternals infiltrate Avengers Mountain. Ajak begs for the Celestials' forgiveness for trespassing, but Makari reminds her that this is just a corpse and the god isn't there anymore. Ajak hopes that she is wrong for all their sakes, asking Sprite to cloak them as they begin their pilgrimage, since they face some of the most petrifying creatures in existence here. Droog meanwhile has some news for Thanos, who is busy beating his father up. Droog says that his mother is alive again, asking if she is to be returned to her cell, or does Thanos want to kill her for what would be the 6th time that day. Machine had thought that Thanos would have taken this well, but he knows that he was wrong, and he isn't taking it well at all. The Hidden Eternals meanwhile sneak by Echo, Thor and Captain Marvel's training session, the heroes unaware of their infiltration, but Starbrand however is woken by a voice alerting her to an Eternal's transgression. Droog meanwhile tells Thanos that his father won't reform for another 10 minutes and perhaps he could take a break from killing them both for now. Thanos however wishes them dead and gone, asking how he makes it stop. Droog says that Phastos discovered that one can delay the resurrection protocols temporarily, but as long as there is an Earth, his parents will live. Thanos calls the Eternals a blasphemous species, knowing he must introduce another one to the rack. Machine however knows that while his fire is quenched for now, Thanos just gained another reason to destroy planet Earth. Starbrand meanwhile discovers the Hidden Eternals, asking what they are. Sprite luckily talks with the girl, using her illusions to take on the form of Starbrand's sleep buddy. Sprite leads Starbrand back to her room, leaving the other Eternals as she telepathically tells him that this babysitting gig will turn out better than the last one. Thanos continues to torture his parents and Phastos, but Droog knows that it won't get them to talk. Thanos knows that, but he has the opportunity to cause hurt to those who caused all his pain. His mother says that he is the cause of all of her pain, but Thanos doesn't think so, being her and her father are the architects of their own misery, and if they don't want to talk about how they can become one with a machine, then he will continue to torture them. He shows them Little Hollow and how he'll cause the plasma vent under the city, but his parents don't care if thousands of people there burn or not, since their hate for him is unconditional. Thanos clicks the button as outside Avengers Mountain, Icarus is having a hard time waiting around, telling Athena that it's against his nature to just sit around and wait. Machine tells him of the plasma vent happening in Little Hollow, and without saying a word, Icarus and Athena race off to save the town. Ajak and the others meanwhile find 6 platforms needed for their ritual, but as Ajak points out, there are only 3 of them. Luckily, Makari has an idea, using her speed to make herself appear in 6 places at once. Doing so activates the platforms, allowing Ajak to speak the gods' tongues, bringing forth the ghost of the long-dead Celestial, whom the Eternals hope will share everything it knows with them. Suddenly, the Avengers security systems register them as a threat. Ajak tells Kingo that she needs to question the Celestials, hoping he can buy her some time, and Kingo is more than happy to face the Avengers in their tower, knowing he always did want to star in a Die Hard remake.